So, first, the question should be whether or not investor education is supposed to make you innovation ready or job market ready. That question, if it's answered properly, then you proceed to now, because if you do not question why university education exists in the first place, and this one, he's making reference to university education. So then you get it wrong completely. University education, as has always been the case, do not train, and some people are trained, and people should separate the two. They are professional courses in universities. So the Institute for Professional Studies, now UPSA, in fact, now Opoko and Poma UPSA, for a very long time had specialized in training accountants and related courses. Again, the GIJ, a tertiary institution, had specialized in training people in journalism, communication, PR, and related courses. Some engineering schools across the country had equally specialized, including the what they call it, college, specialized in training people for specific roles.
There's the Design and Technology Institute.
Brilliant. There are also schools that actually train nurses, tertiary institutions. There are medical schools. If you went to University of Ghana and did biological science, the hope was that you may end up in the medical school or any of these science-related fields, or choose an alternative. In fact, we used to smile those and say that it is only science students that could switch to arts courses. The other way was very difficult to happen unless you actually went through another process. So if you get the foundation or the reason why university education exists wrong, you may be tempted to think that every person who goes to a university is being trained for a particular job. That is not the case. There are also some of the courses predominantly in liberal arts, which is not necessarily training you to be. So, for example, if you did political science, the expectation is not that tomorrow you're a political scientist. I hope you get my point. The expectation is that by the rigors of education within 4 or 3 years, you would have gone through a process that makes you fit into a society and be able to contribute meaningfully in varied forms. So, Geoffrey Grant did psychology at the University of Ghana, first degree. Geoffrey Grant is not a clinical psychologist today. He's not in any way related to the fields that we're talking about, but who says, and I've heard him explain that at the Central Cafeteria of Legon, how relevant the elements he learned in psychology was in his investment banking field, and how it helped him in the process, and how other courses he did, even in the school, helped out. Kojo? So I think that ought to be clarified because this debate has gone on for far too long. I agree schools can help out. I remember when we were in level 100, a course was started by the late Dr. Boami. Entrepreneurship. We were shocked because, I mean, entrepreneurship for a science student, yeah, it didn't sound like a very interesting one. But the idea was that you needed to pick some of these things. That's why a science student later on, when they introduced the university required courses, was expected to also learn a bit of language study skills, academic writing. That's why a science student was taught African studies. And our students had to do some basic statistics and other things combined to the courses they are doing with the hope that you gather skills relevant in different areas so that when you step out of school, you can apply them meaningfully elsewhere. If the minister's reference is that when you name a course as engineering, it should prepare you fully to become an engineer and fit into Mechanical Lloyd or any of those companies, I may say, okay, well, let's debate that. Let's see whether the course standards and structure itself is built to deliver that. So there used to be a conversation that there is a vacuum between academia and industry on what industry wants on the ground and what academia is producing. So the GRJ graduate today, will they be able to fit into a newsroom? And I'm insisting that if you move from City FM to Joy FM today, you may not necessarily fit into a newsroom. Writing styles are different, the standards are different, and even the engagements are required. The skills you need, even though fundamentally you may be required and you may be good enough, are also different. So what I'm driving at is we should look at it from the perspective, why does the universities produce the kind of courses they do? And I am one of those who's consistently of the opinion that upgrades are needed. Sometimes teaching materials are outdated. Sometimes the research skills are not so up to date. Even the teaching skills might not be the very best.